Welcome in, Tiger fans. This is Tiger Den Sports, and I am your host, Jason Darcy, and I am the best blind guy in sports. Hit that subscribe and like button and share to your social media pages for all the best LSU coverage you can find. With that being said, Walker Howard has entered the transfer portal. It was unexpected. Nobody thought he was going to enter right now. We all thought that Daniels, Nussmeier, and Howard was all going to be there during the spring competing for the starting quarterback position. But that's not what happened. Walker Howard hitting the transfer portal does not really hurt LSU. You still got Daniels and Nussmeier. But what this shows is that NIL is playing a big part in this. Yes, Howard wants playing time. I understand it. It's fine. But NIL is playing a good part in this decision. And let me tell you this. Everyone thinks that Walker Howard is going to TCU to go with Jack Bech, his best friend. And that is a possibility. But don't y'all know, by now, Nick Saban reached out to him, and they're going to throw all the money at him to go to Alabama. That's what I'm hearing right now. So if he goes to Alabama, that's why. NIL is playing a big part in this, and that's why NIL is not a good deal for the NCAA. It's not a good look. It doesn't have no stipulations. It has no rules, and it's causing a lot of issues with a lot of different programs. Yes, transfer portal can help you get players into your school, but it also can hurt you by a player leaving for no reason. Walker Howard leaving right now is not a good look for LSU, for any college team out there. This NIL space hurts college football, and this is why. It's because players do not work for what they want anymore. They do not put the work in. They do not put the effort into getting a starting position like old school college football did. They want everything handed to them. They want to show up on campus and given a starting spot. They don't want to work for nothing. And that's a problem with the sports, and that's a problem with kids today. They don't want to work for anything. All they want to do is show up and get handed a starting position. Work hard at what you want. Work hard, play hard, so you can get to where you want to be. Look at me. I'm blind. I want to be a sports reporter. I want to be a social media radio station, basically. I want to talk about LSU sports. So that's what I'm doing. I'm working my butt off to accomplish something that I want in my life. Nobody's going to hand it to me. Nobody's going to call me and say, here's $1 million. Here's your growth on your YouTube channel. Here's your growth on your Twitter. Here's your growth on your TikTok. Nobody is going to hand that to me. I have to work as hard as I can being blind while doing this. And I'm not giving up at all. And that's the problem with players today. They just give up because they're a third string player, even though they're very talented. Just work harder than the player before you. That's the issue with college football right now. I'm not getting enough playing time, so I'm just going to enter the transfer portal. I'm going to get paid to go play somewhere else and get handed a starting position. It's not a good look for NCAA, and if it continues, it's going to be a bad college football in about 5 to 6 years. Something has to be done. There has to be stipulations and regulations and rules associated with NIL and the transfer portal. Why don't we go back to the transfer portal of old? When players would transfer, they would have to sit out a year before they can play. They were not handed money, or they might have been, but nobody knew about it. But they had to sit out a year before they can play. So they couldn't just show up on another campus and say, I'm the starter. No, they had to sit out and wait their turn, just like they would have to do in their old school. They have to wait their turn, work hard, move up on the depth chart. But that's not what the NCAA is about anymore. The integrity of the game is gone because of NIL. Look at Texas A&M. Texas A&M paid all their players a buttload of money to come to their school, 2 years ago? They had the #1 recruiting class. And what happened? They got all their money, and now 27 transfers are in the portal now after they got their money. They got their money. They played one season. They opted out. They're in the transfer portal looking for more money. It's not a good look, and it's going to continue. And then with this transfer portal as well, you got over 7,000 players in the transfer portal. Half of those players, 50 to 75% of them, won't even have a team because they made a bad decision. Because they're hunting for money. They're hunting for playing time. A lot of those players, they're losing their scholarship. They might have had a scholarship at a school, but because they're hunting for money, they're losing a spot at their school. They're losing their spot at a college. They're not going to have a college education because all they want is money now. It's not a good look for your NCAA, and they need to do something about it to fix it. So, what can they do? Why don't you just give a cap on every school? Say 100,000 is your cap, your spending limit, because NIL is supposed to be advertising. You're supposed to advertise for a company, do commercials for the company, and that's what it's supposed to be. That's as simple as that. But that's not what it is. It is put a bunch of money in a pot and pay the players to play, even though it's not supposed to be that. And that's not a good thing either. It's pay to play, pay to play, pay to play. I don't like it at all. It needs to be fixed. And that's what I'm saying. $100,000 cap, pay the players with that money, and that's all you get. Because what Alabama does, what Texas A&M does, I'm sure LSU does it to a certain extent, but they pay all these top-end players to come to their school. They're second and third string. What's going to happen next year? They got their money from Alabama, say $1 million. So what? Now they're going to enter the transfer portal the next year and get more money and a better playing time? That's not a good thing. So it needs to be fixed. NCAA need to do something about it. And the transfer portal, like I said, you need to be sit out at least 1 year before you can play on the other team. I'm not against NIL. I'm not against the transfer portal. I'm just against no regulations, no stipulations, no rules, and that's the issue with that. So, with that being said, y'all know how I feel about it. We're going to go into the college expansion now. The college expansion for the college playoffs, I don't think is good either. I don't like the 12-team playoff. I would rather see it go to 8 if you're going to expand it. Because you have a 5 seed playing a 12 seed. Just say it was Alabama and Tulane this year. Alabama the 5th seed, Tulane being the number 12 seed. How do you think that game would go? Alabama would blow that team out. It's not, oh man, it's not a good thing for the college football to expand the playoffs. It's not. I know why they're doing it. They're doing it because it's more games, more money. Yes, the top 4 schools or whatever gets to play home games and get a bye, whatever. Fine. But they're going to have a lot of games that mean nothing. Just like bowl games. Some bowl games mean nothing. And I know what it's about. It's about making money, and that's about it. So I don't like the 12-team playoff. I wish it would go down to 8 because you would leave some of the crazy teams that so happen to have a good season out of it, like Kansas State, TCU, Tulane. Those teams would not make it good in the playoffs. You've seen what TCU did against Georgia. They got blown out because they did not deserve to be there. And I'm going to stick to that. They do not deserve to be there because they don't play in a great conference. They are not a talented team like when they face Georgia. They beat Michigan, sure. But Michigan's not even that good. All they could do is run the ball. Michigan only played one tough opponent this year, and that was Ohio State. Michigan is not a great team. So what I'm saying about college football and playoffs, you need to get the best teams in there. I think a 8-team playoff would be the best option for college football to go, because you would have the top 4 teams from, or let's just say, how can I say that? The top 4 teams would probably have buys. Let's just say that, and the rest of the teams will play each other. But I believe it's gonna be top end teams, because if you look at a 12-team playoff, the people don't like having a bunch of SEC schools in it. But I can guarantee in 2024, when the college playoff expands, excuse me, you're gonna have Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and LSU, 4 SEC schools in the college playoff. I'm guaranteeing that right now because they're so good. And then you got to look, Auburn and Florida's going to get better. Ole Miss is always ranked high. So can you have 5 or 6 SEC schools? College football is not going to like that, but that's where they're going. So with that being said, I don't like the college expansion either. I think that needs to be tweaked a little bit too, to 18 playoff, because it would be a lot better matchups. And that's just how I feel about it. But with the NIL and the transfer portal issues, it needs to be resolved. It needs to be resolved very quickly, because things like with Walker Howard entering the transfer portal shows that it's all about the money, all about playing time, and it needs to be fixed so teams can keep players on their team. Because if you don't, how can we enjoy a player like Walker Howard? We know the talent he has. We know it. We know he's going to do good in college. But we're not going to get to see it at our school because of the stupid NIL and the transfer portal. And that's what I want to go away from. That's what I want to get away from. And if we don't get it resolved and we don't get it fixed, it's going to be an issue down the road. And so with that being said, fix it, NCAA. Get together. Get some board meetings going to see what y'all can do about this. Because if y'all don't, college football as we know it will never be the same.